everybody. Tony Marcolini. Welcome to It May Interest You to Know. I'm joined today with my co-host, Seamus McDonough. And today we welcome a very special guest. He's a speaker, a writer, an actor, Sean Kanan. Welcome, Sean.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you, Seamus. It's nice to be with you guys.
Hey, Sean.
Hi.
So we wanted to start, I think we have so much to cover with you between the books that are out and the projects that you're involved with. I think Seamus and I were talking about starting with some of your earlier projects and trying to work our way up if we could do that.
Sure.
I know you started with on TV. I believe General Hospital was your first major TV role. Am I correct?
Yeah, it was my first major role. I had done some guest star work, but that was my first, contract role that was on an ongoing basis. And I did that right after I did karate. Well, shortly after I had done Karate Kid 3. I did a couple of the things, and then on my way to General Hospital.
Now,
what do you get excited about, Sean? What do you love to do?
What do I love to do? I love to travel. My wife is my partner in crime. We spend all our time together. Whatever, crazy adventure is next, she's right beside me. I love working too. I really love what I do. My wife is one of the executive producers and head writers of the show that I created, which is called Studio City on Amazon Prime. Been a dream of mine for a very long time to create that. We work on that together. In my spare time, I love to study foreign languages. I've studied Italian probably for 15 years. I've been studying Mandarin for the last 2. What else? Love dogs. And I love to cook. I love to cook. I love to get in the kitchen and mix it up.
What kind of dog do you have?
So I never thought I'd be like a little dog guy. And we have a mini pug, and she is just, she's our child. We take her everywhere. We're taking her to England with us this later today. So
where are you going in England? Where are you going over there?
So I'm appearing at the Liverpool Comic Con. So I'm going to fly into London and rent a car and drive 3.5 hours to Liverpool, stay for about 36 hours, and then come back. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Jet lag.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, so
it's going to be good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so you did the Dancing with the Stars, the Italian version, right?
I did Ballando con le Stelle, right, which was an incredible experience. For a guy that has 2 left feet, I managed to last for 9 weeks.
Wow.
Surprised me. And, it was, I have such an incredible respect for ballroom dancers because it is absolutely a sport. It was extremely physical. And, and when you're the man, you have to lead. So imagine not knowing how to dance, and you've got this, well, in my case, my partner was in the top 50 in the world for ballroom dancing, and I had to lead. And then they did this crazy thing where they brought in this woman. Her name was Hannah Cartoonian, and she's the #1 ballroom dancer at the time in all of Europe. And I had 30 minutes to teach her my choreography, and she was so good, she even managed to make me look good.
Wonderful. I used to be a professional dancer.
Really?
Well, it's kind of
tassels, poles. What are we talking about here?
I went to St. John's University where I met Tony, and apparently some basketball team down south had a halftime show called the Blues Brothers East. So some fraternity did it. So they wanted the same fraternity in New York to do it. So they asked us to do it for the New York Knicks. So we did a halftime show for the New York Knicks called the Blues Brothers East. It's on YouTube, and that was my professional dancing career.
No pressure there. There must have been, like 25, 30,000 people?
Amazing.
And televised?
Amazing. And you probably don't know, Mr. I used to be a boxer also, so I fought the Gordon like 20 times also. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you must love Tyson Fury.
Tyson I was actually talking to a great friend of his yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got some things in the pipeline, as they say in Ireland.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Have you been to Ireland?
I haven't been to Ireland, and I would very much like to go. I have a little bit of Irish blood in me, and you know, I love to travel, as I said, and the Emerald Isle looks just absolutely gorgeous. Just finished reading a book. I was going to do a film where I played an MMA fighter, and so I got this book about the guy that was Conor McGregor's trainer. And long story short, you know, it takes place in Ireland, and so I found myself engrossed in this book and sort of tangentially learning a lot about Ireland because that's where these guys were raised, and it really became enamored with it. I thought, this would be a phenomenal place to go visit.
You would love it. You would love it.
I got the right name for it, right?
You sure do. They would love you over there.
Well, talk to us. And you were saying about different guest appearances you had done, and I think the first time I ever saw you, believe it or not, was on The Nanny.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right, that was right. What was that like?
That was a great experience. You know, Fran Drescher is not only a phenomenal talent, she's a wonderful person. She's extremely involved with her charity, Cancer Schmancer. And let me tell you a quick story. So I went to an event she was doing for Cancer Schmancer years after having done The Nanny with her, and said hello, reconnected. And she said, "Listen, if you ever get an audition for my new show, which was called Happily Divorced, let me know." As luck and serendipity would have it, like 2 or 3 days later, I got an audition for it. And I didn't have Fran's number, but through friends of a friend of a friend, I got to her. And long story short, she basically, they had cast somebody, and she got the network to switch from the person they had cast.
Oh.
Gave me the part. And when I got on set, the director was being like a complete dick to me, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized what it was. It was that he had hired this other person, and they had come down and said, no, you have to hire this kid. And he wasn't happy about it. So he was really a jerk to me. But it's just a testament to who she is as a person, that she really, kept her word when it wasn't easy to do so. So immense respect for her, and it was really fun.
Well, it looked like it was a fun set to be on. That's why I wanted to run that past you. Now, you've since done, you have a background in soaps, right? The Bold and the Beautiful, I think you were on Young and the Restless as well.
General Hospital, sure.
Was General Hospital being now you're in a new project that kind of incorporates all that, right? For Amazon Studios.
Right. Well, I'm actually back on contract with The Bold and the Beautiful. So I'm back doing that, which is great, reprising my role of Deacon Sharp, which I also played on The Young and the Restless. But yeah, you're talking about Studio City, which is, the essence of Studio City follows my character, Sam Stevens, who plays Dr. Pierce Hartley on Hearts on Fire, which is the #2 soap opera in the world, fictionally. And, it's a story about a guy that's an aging soap star. And at first you look at this guy and he's not necessarily particularly likable. You think he probably makes a lot of money and works with beautiful women and he's on TV. And very quickly you realize that he's like this flawed guy with a lot of issues that is just trying to figure it out like the rest of us. And it's set against the backdrop of him being on a soap opera, also his life outside the soap opera, but it's not specifically a show for soap opera fans. It just happens to be that that's what his job is. I mean, it's been a dream of mine to get this show made. I've been trying for probably 15 years, and through a number of fortunate events and the right variables falling in place, we were able to get it made. And in the first season, which was 11 episodes, we got, I think, 20 Emmy nominations, and
wow.
We won 4, including last year. We won for outstanding fiction, which was the big one, and it just it was surreal. It was unbelievable.
And you get to work with your wife, as you were saying, on it. So that's
I get to work with my wife. which is fantastic. We've got our little Emmy statues side by side. I was nominated for lead actor, so I was really hoping that I was going to win so I could have two of them in front of hers. But just to keep me humble, the universe was like, no, you guys can each have one, and I think that's probably for the best.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you started writing books too now.
I have. Well, my third one just came out. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah.
I think you started, was the first one you wrote Stress Factor X? Was that? Or is that
No.
the second? No?
It's called Success Factor X, not Stress Factor.
Sorry. I stand corrected.
I love it. No, the first one was called The Modern Gentleman Cooking and Entertaining with Sean Kanan. And then the second one was called Success Factor X. And then my third one, which just came out and is doing gangbusters, is called Way of the Cobra. And it is, it's a motivational self-help book. It's set up with the structure that I'm the sensei, you're a student in my dojo. And the tagline for the book is Unleash Your Inner Badass. And, these are kind of the battle-tested strategies that I've used in my life to achieve some of what I've achieved. And, I know this stuff works because, a couple of years ago, I found myself in a really, kind of a strange place. I mean, I'd had some pretty significant success in my life. I'd had some epic failures, some of which were fairly well publicized. And, I was looking in the mirror at 50 years old saying, okay, what's next? What's chapter 2 here? And I was 35 pounds overweight. I had no prospects for work. Just a lot of stuff that I was struggling with. And I decided, okay, I am going to kind of take the bull by the horns here. And rather than wait for my ship to come in, I'm going to build the damn ship. I just had to figure out how to do it. And I started doing some things very differently, and very quickly, I started getting some extraordinary results. And, I tell people, I said, before you think that I'm living on top of a mountain in Kathmandu, levitating, contemplating my navel in like the lotus position, I said, I am one of the great hardheads of the world. I have made every mistake in my book a dozen times over. And, I look at my job in this book is kind of being like a Sherpa, to help people up to the top of the mountain, not to carry them up, but to point out a path that may be the path of lesser resistance, and point out some of the, the well-worn pitfalls that, hopefully I can help people avoid through some of the experience that I've had in my life. And I literally get emails every single day from all corners of the world of people telling me what a dramatic effect this has had on their life. And, I'll close it with this. I do podcasts and things like that because I'm promoting a book, sure, and I want to sell books, and that's true. But the reality is that with every fiber of my being, I know that the information in this book is transformational, and I want to get it into as many people's hands as possible, because I know that it's got the ability to help people really live their absolute best life.
Sean, what is
how commendable?
Thank you.
How commendable! I'm actually also I'm also 25 years sober.
Excellent.
And my life is actually helping people. That's the same.
That's amazing,
life.
man. That's a beast, man. Sobriety is a real beast, and I have immense respect for you. That's kind of one of the things that I did. I mean, it wasn't a conscious decision to get sober, but I just decided for some clarity purposes that I was going to be really judicious with, drinking, everything from, who I spent time with, just everything. And I did very clear on it. And, now it's been, a chunk of time since I've imbibed it all. And I don't necessarily know that I'm done forever, but it just feels better not doing it. And my level of productivity, and more importantly than that, and this, Seamus, is the level of connection that you have with people is more authentic, it's more centered, and it's more reality based. And that's been one of the greatest byproducts of this journey that I've been on.
Well, it's so evident the way you're talking, and I have to say also that very similar thing happened to me. Lost everything, and just I came back 25 years ago, someone showed me actually how to basically do the 12 steps every day, which changed my life. And
Wonderful.
There was no meaning in my life before that. I was driven by my fears. I didn't even know it. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's funny. That's one of the chapters that I have in the book, is that, I say something to the effect of, whatever you think is the obstacle that is stopping you from achieving the life that you want, I can tell you this: it's not your mom and dad, it's not your overbearing wife, it's not your boss who doesn't understand you, it's you. And when you boil all of that down and distill it, it comes from fear. Okay, there's, fear has a myriad of different faces, but at the end of the day, whether it's fear of success, fear of connection, fear of intimacy, blah, 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 it's having to deal with that. And a lot of what I talk about is, rather than shunning it, embracing it. And, I think as a fighter, you probably understand this, and to a much lesser degree, but not necessarily so different as an actor. If I allowed myself to constantly be ruled by fear when I walk into a room full of strangers who are going to judge whether or not I get my next job, it would be incredibly difficult. Yet before doing that, frequently, you have nerves. You've got, which is a type of fear. And so I choose to sort of embrace it and not run from it. And, for me as an actor, I use that for the character. I say, okay, what could the character be afraid of? How can I use this in my life? But I also think fear can be a tremendous motivator too.
Yes. Now, the thing about fear is that people think the fear we're talking about is not it's not in the moment. It's like it's not being afraid. It's like worrying about what happened or what might happen.
Yes.
So yes. So what happened before comes up to block block us from being more inventive, creative right here, right now. So I was shown something to do, which was, I'll just share quickly. I wrote it is to write down your fears. I have fear I won't get the job. I have fear I'm not good enough. Write them down. They start to dissipate.
Yes.
And then I'm just left in reality.
Yeah.
Is where I want to be. Yeah.
I think if you're, if you're anxious in your life, it's because of fear of the unknown and what's going to happen. And if you're depressed, it's because you're fixating on the past. And you're spot on. If you're living in the present, it really does alleviate a lot of the anxiety. I mean, we have very little control over what is going to happen. The only thing we have control over is how we react to various stimuli. And, as soon as you realize that you're not in control, life actually becomes a lot easier. And for anybody who thinks that they are in control, all you have to do is walk outside and look at the sun, which is a dying star and is someday going to consume our earth and swallow it up and go supernova. And let me assure you, you are not in control.
Exactly. Wow.
So
beautiful.
What does the creative process look like for you when you sit down to write? I mean, do you go for a jog first? Do you meditate?
I kind of get flashes of inspiration, and it might start with me, jotting down a couple words or a couple sentences, either on paper or, in my iPhone, and then I'll sit back and I'll expand on it. I'm not, I lack that kind of monastic sensibility that a lot of writers have, where they're like, I will wake up every single day and I'll write for 4 hours no matter what. My life is too busy to do that. I mean, between all of the things I do, I write when the inspiration strikes me, and then I'll write as long as I need to get it done.
Now, I think Seamus and I were talking a lot about Karate Kid before we started.
Okay.
What was that like? That was an epic, a movie to be in.
That was, it still remains as one of the seminal experiences of my life. It changed the trajectory of my career and my life. I've told this story many times. So for those people who've heard it before, forgive me. But, I was a kid from a small town in Western Pennsylvania. I had been a paying customer for the Karate Kid and the Karate Kid 2. And then I went to an open call for the role of Mike Barnes, which was described as a 17-year-old white Mike Tyson, which I had never thought of myself as. And I was picked out of 2,000 people by John Avildsen, who had won the Academy Award for Rocky, who had directed the first two Karate Kids, and ultimately wound up getting the role. And, you know, it was huge. It was huge. It was crazy. I mean, you know, I grew up watching Pat Morita on Happy Days as Arnold. I mean, you know, that was like my go-to when I come home from lunch. I you know, I'd have my little hot dog wrapped up in a crescent roll watching Happy Days. And now suddenly I'm on the back lot, you know, filming with him. There's also a story, again, which I've told many times, and I recount in the book, about how I had a life-threatening injury and was told that I could die while I was filming it. Christmas Day, 1989, passed out in Las Vegas from blood loss from a stunt that I did, which had nothing to do with karate, and very nearly was cut from the film and had to battle my way back into the film. And so for that reason, the film is very special to me. I mean, it's special to me because of what it has done for me as an actor, and, you know, being a part of this, you know, like the Karate Kid and Rocky and things like that are part of the cinematic tapestry of our country. And to be a part of that, something that has got such a huge international fan base of devotees is really humbling and wonderful. And now, you know, with the utter success of Cobra Kai on Netflix, you know, this role that I did 30 some years ago still has relevance and interest from fans, which is just an incredible blessing.
Well, with your career, if I asked you what was your most memorable moment in any of your professional, we're not talking personal, but in your professional career or life, could you narrow it down to one moment that's like forever?
Well, you just threw a curveball at me. You had career, and then you slipped life in there. So you got to choose one or the other.
All right. In your career, is there a most memorable moment that burrowed into the center of your brain and is forever there?
I'd have to give you a couple. Okay.
Okay.
Obviously, finding out that I got in the role in the Karate Kid 3 was monstrous.
And what did that look like? I mean, what did that phone call look like? I mean, did you run around dancing or?
No. So I had done really well at the screen test and thought I was going to get the role. And I found out the crushing truth that I didn't get it, and they hired somebody else, and they worked him for about a week and he didn't work out. And so they called me to come back to the studio, and in a very short amount of time, they said that I got the role, but they, you know, normally you get a role and there's a period of time before you start the project. They sent me right to wardrobe. They sent me right to go meet the fight choreographer. I mean, it was like, I didn't have time to call my parents and tell them for probably, you know, 7 or 8 hours. And so, no, I didn't get a chance to like jump around and everything because I was suddenly now part of the cast. Another amazing moment was when I got on the set for Studio City, because I know the Herculean effort that it has taken, not just from me, but from those people who've helped me do this to get that made. And I was in awe. I was like, wow, we really did it. And then to get it done and have it be well received and to have it be, you know, lauded with awards is like icing on the cake. When we won the Emmy for Studio City, I was teaching a martial arts seminar in my hometown, and I knew that the Emmys were on the same time that the seminar started. And so I specifically left my phone in the car. Because I knew I was either going to be really happy or really, you know, I was going to be sad. And these people didn't pay to see that. They paid to do this thing with me. And so as the seminar concluded, my dad walked into the area where I was conducting the seminar, and he just had this kind of blank look on his face. And he walked up to me and he said, "You won." And I got really quiet, and I walked into a corner, and I just sort of had to digest it. And you got to understand something. I've been involved in daytime television since 1992. I've never won an Emmy. And, you know, I had kind of I don't know. I basically, we tend to disdain things that we don't get in life. And I was kind of like, well, screw it. You know what? Who cares? It's not for me. It's not in the cards, whatever. And to have won the big one for the biggest show, it was humbling. And I got really choked up. So that was definitely, a big moment. I would also, did I lose you there?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. And then I also had produced a film years ago that I wrote called Chasing Holden, which was about a young boy that runs away from boarding school to find J.D. Salinger. And again, when we were finally up in Canada on set about to film that was another one where it was really the first time that I'd ever seen actors about to film the words that I'd written. And that was pretty special.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that is amazing. Well, you've had such an illustrious career. I mean, I think you've experienced things that most people would be thrilled to just have experienced one, right? But to have been a movie star, a television star, a successful writer, I mean, you're hitting a lot of bells.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, to me, a movie star is Brad Pitt. I'm fortunate to be a working actor, but it's feast or famine. I have definitely had my extremely dry periods. And, the one thing that's kind of gotten me through those is, as an actor, you have to be able to find your moments of happiness other than when you're acting and on the set. Because if you're deriving your validation solely from somebody else hiring you to do a job, you're going to be extremely unhappy for a great amount of your time, because the majority of most actors' lives is spent in the pursuit of work rather than in actually working.
Is this what you wanted to be? Like when you were young, did you always want to be an actor? Or?
Yeah, I would say from about age 13 or 14, that's what I wanted to do.
Like in the school plays and everything, or?
I wasn't really like a drama geek. As I've gotten older, I love theater, and it's actually my favorite thing to do. I had done some plays, but my degree is actually in political science. And my parents were very supportive of me, but they said, look, you tell your parents that you're going to go out to Hollywood to be an actor. It's like, I'm going to go run away to be Jojo, the monkey boy in the circus. I mean, it's like absurd, the chances of it becoming a reality are very small. And so they said, look, whatever you do, you gotta have something to fall back on. And so I figured, okay, I'll choose political science. I can go to law school or do something like that. But what's strange is, as much as I wish sometimes that I had been fortunate enough to go to, say, Juilliard or Carnegie Mellon to get like a degree in theater, it's strange how my degree in political science has helped me in my acting career. It just sort of has given me a different perspective of how to look at things. I'm a firm believer that people always say to me, what advice do you give people that want to pursue a career in acting? And one of them is to experience as many different things as you can. That's why one of the reasons I study foreign languages, travel, because you never know what you're going to play. And, education and reading is one of the greatest ways that we can do that. I talk about in the book that reading is one of the great equalizers, because it doesn't matter whether from where you come socioeconomically, or even if you're incarcerated, everybody has the ability to study the words of great men and women and travel to places beyond their vista. And so I'm a huge proponent of, reading and learning as much as you can, and always remaining a student.
I agree. Actually, I was a political science major myself.
Oh, okay.
So
excellent.
We're bonded.
I love it.
Now, tell me about The Bold and the Beautiful. You said you're back on.
And back on. It started in 2000. I'm reprising my role of Deacon Sharp, which is it's fantastic. It's still, to date, this ranks as one of the best work experiences I've ever had. I love being on the show. The show is in the Guinness World Book of Records as the most syndicated show in history. It's currently seen in probably at least 40 countries, but at one point I think it was like 100. And it has opened up tremendous opportunities for me. And I love what I do. I get to go do other stuff. I did 2 films this year with Bruce Willis. The first one is out right now, called Survive the Game. And the second one is coming out in theaters December 16th, called The Fortress. My point is that I have the wonderful opportunity to work on The Bold and the Beautiful and yet still go out and do some other things. So it's sort of the best of all worlds.
And you have any spoilers coming up the pike for your character?
They're really very tight-lipped. A lot of times I don't know what's happening until I get the next script. So no, I do think for those people to watch the show, there probably is going to be some sort of escalation in the relationship between my character and Brooke, who of course share a daughter. I did have a daughter with my mother-in-law. So in other words, I was married to somebody, had an affair with her mom, and now we have a daughter. So in true soap opera story. Yeah.
Is that where are you most recognized from?
Probably the post office. It's like I'm really lucky.
Me too.
I'm really lucky that I've got kind of 2 big fan bases. I've got the daytime fans, and they're fantastic, and then I've got the whole Karate Kid universe fans. So I'm kind of a toss up between those 2.
Well, if you ever need any boxing people in your movie or gyms, or I know everybody, LA, New York, all over the place. So.
Now, are you guys in Arizona?
No, I'm in San Francisco. Tony's in New York.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, well,
where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. Well, I will definitely keep that in mind. But it's been such a pleasure talking to you guys. It feels like I just sort of sat down and had coffee with a couple of friends. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna plug my book one last time and just say that if anyone would like to order it, you can get it at wayofthecobra.com. And you can follow me on social, Sean.Kanan on Instagram, or Sean Kanan on Twitter. And I do my best to try and respond to as many people as possible.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. And I hope we get a chance to do this again.
Thank you.
Yes.
Please come back again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.